craziest thing has happened today. It got up to 32 degrees out, which is crazy because we've been lucky if we get up to like 20 something degrees for most of the winter so far, but it got up to 32. And so I went outside this morning and went on a walk in it, and it just felt so nice and warm and lovely that I turned off all the heaters in the house and I've opened up all the windows, and the air smelled so good, and I've just been letting that sweet air get into the house. It's been smelling so musty, and not only does it feel warm to me, but also like I can hear birds chirping. There's the sound of the water dripping down because all of the ice on the roofs and on the trees are melting and dripping down. And it smells like spring. Like I can smell, I don't know, like life and like earthiness. So that's totally crazy, and I just keep having to remind myself it's not actually spring. This is just a one-day blip. It's gonna drop down and get back into like the teens for a while, single digits even a little bit. We're gonna get some snow. It's only mid-January, so we have another month and a half of at least of like the coldest part of winter to go before the temperature really starts, you know, warming up. But this is just like the perfect little like taste of what spring is gonna be like, and it just came at the perfect time. I've been having such a hard time lately. A lot of things have been going a lot better. I've been doing a lot of work on things, and you know, things have been better in a lot of ways, but at the same time, and this has been going on for like a couple months, I just haven't talked about it much because it's been so overwhelming to have to deal with that, like having to record it was overwhelming at the time. But we've been having problems with pipes and drains freezing. Every time it gets close to 0 degrees, my shower / bath drain freezes, and if I don't pour boiling water and salt down it first thing in the morning, or I just turn on the shower, then it will be frozen and I won't be able to use it until the weather gets back up into the 20s. And then the pipe that gets water to the washing machine, that froze for a few days. The sink drain froze once. It's been a little bit of a mess. And not only that, but we had a leak in our ceiling, which turned out to be from the hot water going to the bathroom sink upstairs. So now we have to turn that off. We only get icy water upstairs in the bathroom now, so yeah. Long story short with that, everything's been a little bit freezing. And on top of that, my seasonal depression got to its peak, and it maybe still is at its peak. I actually feel really good today, which is unusual, but it's really been at its peak lately, and I've been so fatigued. I've had to like strain myself and use so much willpower just to get like the normal things done. I also had to go to the food bank for the first time, and that was really difficult and scary for me. I was like on the verge of tears and shaking the whole time. I know that might seem a little bit extreme, but I have some agoraphobia, and so doing new things like that can be a really scary thing for me, and the whole process was a little bit complicated, and there were some sketchy people around. My car got stuck in the parking lot because they didn't plow it properly. It was kind of a mess, but I'm still glad I went because we got a lot of food that normally is, you know, out of our budget, and that has been really good. Yeah, the last few days have been really weird. I've been having like PMS and then having my menstrual cycle the last few days, and it was just like a really weird, bad experience, like exceptionally weird and bad. I do this thing where if I really just don't want to do something that I have to do, I will say, you know what, I'm not gonna let myself get on, you know, any social media, you know, watch anything at all. I'm not gonna let myself work on fun tasks like, you know, sewing or whatever. I'm only gonna let myself listen to music and just sit or lay on the ground until I feel like doing something. And normally I can only do that for 10 or 15 minutes before I'm like, okay, I'll get up and do this. I'd rather do that. And so I was having this problem the other day, and I was telling myself, just lay down and listen to music. Don't do anything else until you get this done. It's like, okay, I'm a little bit more tired today, so I might lay down for like 30 minutes before I get up, but it'll probably work. I laid down for like 4 hours just laying down and listening to music. When I laid down, I looked out the window and it was like a really sunny, clear, like blue sky, no clouds day. And the trees outside my front window still had snow on them, but like the breeze was knocking the snow down. And it was still really cold that day, so the snow wasn't melting or anything, it was just being blown off. And so every time the breeze would shift, there would be just like a bunch of snow that would get, blown off into the air, swirling around. And because it was so cold, the snow looked like glitter. So it literally looked like, sparkly glitter being blown around into the air. And even when it wasn't being blown around, the dark branches with the white snow against the blue sky was just so beautiful. So between the interesting PMS I was experiencing and the beauty of, the tree and the sky and the snow, I just laid there and stared at the beauty of it for 4 hours. And the only reason I got up is because I was not going to be able to eat that day if I didn't, finish what I was doing at that point. So I had to force myself to get up and do it anyway, but I would have gladly laid there the rest of the day and stared out at those trees. Also on my walk this morning, I actually saw the road for the first time since like November. I didn't know this until I moved up here, but in, our small town, they don't plow the snow down to the road. So, when it gets snowy and stuff, the whole road all around town, all the roads are just covered in this compacted snow. So you can't actually see the road at all. It's just like white compacted snow in town. And that never happened in Salt Lake. So I was like really blown away by seeing that when we first moved up here, but that's just how it's been in the small town, at least all winter. And so when I was going on my walk this morning, there were a few little patches where I could actually see down to the road, and I haven't seen the road in town since November, so that was also a really crazy experience. All of this has really got me hyped up for spring. I'm trying not to get into that headspace yet because I'm just going to be disappointed. But yeah, I'm excited.
Darkness and kerosene, the storm made quick work, the power line down the street. I find you bundled up, waiting for me to light you up. You said something menacing. We both left as I fell into bed.
Okay, I know that these look kind of funny and spiky, but I promise they actually taste really good. Next time I think I'll use like an ice cream scooper or something like that to scoop them on so that they're a little bit less spiky. So anyway, yesterday was a really bad day for me. I don't want to get into the details of it, but I woke up to a nightmare in the morning. And later in the day, something that happened in that nightmare also happened in real life, which sucked and was stressful. And then every other thing I tried to do went wrong. Currently walking home after paying my bill because one of our bills has required us to go into town in person to pay it. And the snowplow didn't come through today and get the snow out of the way. So there's a few inches of snow. There's no way our car was going to make it through the snow. So I just had to walk into town to go pay the bill. It's about 18 degrees out right now, so not, painfully cold, but also not the most comfortable weather to walk a couple miles in. Yeah, that's just something that sometimes happens now. Living in a small town in the winter with a car that doesn't have four-wheel drive, but I will say I do prefer this to having... Okay. I do prefer this to having to deal with all of the crap that living in a city has. Look how much snow is on these roads. Yeah, no way I'm getting my car through this. I kept trying to remedy the damage that was done mentally, and it didn't matter how much I did. I couldn't get myself to feel better, and a lot of the stuff I tried to do to feel better ended up making me feel worse because it ended up going wrong. So I don't want to get too much into that, but yeah, it was a bad day. And this whole winter has been kind of rough, really. The lack of sunlight has really started to get to me, and I've just had like so little energy to do anything lately. Add that to the financial struggles and the back home struggles and all of the other struggles I've been going through. It's a lot. I try to stay positive most of the time and look on the bright side of things, and I think I do a pretty good job most of the time, but this time of year is kind of the hardest for me because it's still really dark. And I've had to go through a lot of really dark times, so the seasonal fatigue and depression just really knocks me down by this point. And I've really been struggling quite a bit of the time. I've had a lot of days that have been really good and a lot of really good moments and experiences, and I'm glad that I'm able to kind of separate the good and the bad and not let the bad parts and the bad things taint the things and the days that are really good. And that's something I wasn't able to do this time last year, at least not very well. But I just want to be honest here and say that I really have been struggling a lot of the time this winter, even though I don't really show it on camera because I don't like to dwell on it. And when I feel like that, I don't really want to record very much. But I'm not going to let that hold me down and hold me back. And I've been focusing a lot on taking care of my body and taking care of my mind and finding the balance that I need in my life and adapting to all of the different changes that my mind and body go through, and trying not to attach good and bad feelings or ideologies to things and just try to let things be and not obsess over or label any of it, and just do the best I can in that moment. I don't know if any of that is really making much sense, but I've been focusing a lot on changing my perception of things and resurfacing memories and thoughts and emotions in a really safe way, and trying not to identify with things as much, and overall just trying to be more mindful, I guess. And I've also been focusing on eating much better food, and I've been trying to move my body a lot more. When I can feel healthy enough that I actually want to move my body, and then I do move my body, either with dancing or working out or going on a walk, it really does wonders for my concentration and my mental health, all of that good stuff, and my physical health, obviously. So yeah, if you're struggling with the darkness and the cold and the winter as well, I would definitely recommend exercise, and definitely recommend trying not to identify with all of your thoughts and all of your feelings, and just looking at them for what they are, which are just thoughts and feelings separate from you, and accepting that you're thinking the thoughts and feeling the feelings, and not saying that it's bad or that you're bad for feeling them or thinking them, and just allowing the thoughts and feelings that do positive things for you to stay, acknowledging and accepting the ones that are negative, and allowing them to leave, and not focusing or obsessing over them. Just saying, I acknowledge this thought or this emotion. It's okay that I'm thinking this, it's okay that I'm feeling this, and I'm just going to let it go now. Doing that really helps with just depression and anxiety, just all of this muck that we have going on in our heads, especially around this time of year. But anyway, I hope that helps someone out there. I hope everyone's getting through this winter all right, and y'all just need to hold on a little bit longer, because spring is right around the corner. And I'm going to end this video with that. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you stick around for the next one, and I will see you then. Bye.